Ah, the markets. The smell of fresh bread, donuts and coffee. Not to mention clothing and trinkets of all sorts. The market that I'm talking about today isn't Portobello Road though. I'm talking about the Queen Victoria Market. This exists in central Melbourne. I would consider it to be one of the best markets in the world, if not one of the biggest. Queen Victoria Market has the title of the biggest market in the Southern Hemisphere, in fact. The reason why I'm looking at the Queen Victoria Market primarily is because it has several archaeological elements to the site, ones which are kind of pertinent to today because there's going to be an archaeological investigation into the site in the near future. The site of Queen Victoria Markets has had a long and somewhat convoluted history. Some suggest a colourful history, others would suggest that it has several darker phases in its history. The first use of the site was by Indigenous Australians. At the time of the European settlement in the area, which is now occupied by the Queen Victoria Market, was a part of the estate of the Aboriginal Wurundjeri William clan, or the Woiwurrung language group or tribe. This language group was part of what we now call the Kulin Nations. The city of Melbourne was founded in 1835, and we were originally known, potentially, as Batmanians, as the man who discovered or, I suppose, started the city of Melbourne had the last name Batman, John Batman. Now, in the year 1836 to 1854, much of the land on which Queen Victoria Market now stands was the site of Melbourne's first official cemetery. Now, this is where the archaeological aspects start to show themselves. Now, this cemetery held over 10,000 early settlers, including the remains of John Batman. Numerous bodies remain buried beneath the existing car park. Unfortunately, there are no records of those buried there. Following its closure, the cemetery fell into disuse, and many of the red gum headstones were stolen for firewood. Official records for the cemetery were destroyed during a fire in one of the wings of the Melbourne Town Hall in 1925. One thing we do know though is the first person to be buried on the site was a child. He was Frederick William Craig, the infant son of Skene Craig. A Crown grant had been passed providing land for the nearby General Market on the 4th of March in 1867. Todaysmeet Hall dates back to 1869. When the Queen Victoria Market first expanded into the cemetery in 1878, it was the first northern part, the Quaker/Aboriginal area near Fulton Street, which was acquired first. Two grants that provided more land for the market were dated at 1878 and 1880. The lower market, which contains the Dally Hall, Meat and Fish Hall and the H&I sheds, were originally set aside in 1857 for a fruit and vegetable market due to overcrowding and congestion at Melbourne's most popular Eastern Market. However, the location was unpopular with market gardeners who refused to use the space. This resulted in the space becoming a livestock and hay market until 1867, when a substantial brick building was erected on the corner of Elizabeth and Victoria Street. Despite spending a short time as a wholesale meat market, this building eventually became a retail meat and fish market and slaughterhouse. In the year of its official founding, the market expanded into wholesale and retail fruit and vegetable trading, which prompted the construction of G, H, I and J sheds. H and I sheds still stand in their original position. However, G shed was removed to construct the loading bay for the meat hall, and J shed later burnt down, only to be replaced with a public plaza. The Elizabeth Street shops were constructed in 1880, following a realignment of Elizabeth Street, which also allowed for the well-known Meat and Fish Hall facade to be constructed in 1884. The upper market, unlike the lower market, had not originally been reserved as a marketplace. The site had undergone a number of uses, including a school and a drill hall. Construction of A to F sheds began in 1877 at the Victoria Street end of the market, since this area contained the least used section of the cemetery. In 1917, when that market was extended upon much of the rest of the cemetery site, 914 bodies were exhumed and reinterred at other cemeteries around Melbourne, including Melbourne General Cemetery in Carlton and Fawkner Cemetery, which is now the resting place of the old pioneers. By 1930, the entire upper market site, including K and L Shed, had been constructed and extended all the way up to Peel Street. Between 1929 and 1930, the City of Melbourne constructed 60 brick stores, which were located on the current site of the car park, to house wholesale agents and merchants. However, this was short-lived after allegations of corruption and racketeering caused a royal commission in the 1960s, which led to the decision to relocate wholesale market in Footscray in 1969. All that remains today is a single row of these stores along Franklin Street. These troubles in the 1960s can also be attributed to mafia interventions. Now, what we can understand that isn't pure speculation is that there were a lot of Italian marketeers that specialised in fruits and vegetables coming into Melbourne at this time. Unfortunately, what had happened in this period of time was 5 murders in the single area where the Italian merchants were in fact operating. Now, some people might draw conclusions from that. However, I think it's rather unreasonable to suggest anything without evidence. In 2013, Lord Mayor Robert Doyle announced that Queen Victoria markets were to be modernised, in so much that they are going to get a new underground car park. This means that a percentage of the 9,000 bodies will most likely be exhumed by archaeologists in what could be the biggest archaeological investigation Melbourne has ever seen. Today the market is a major Melbourne tourist destination, offering a variety of fruits and vegetables, meat, poultry and seafood, gourmet delicatessen foods as well as specialty delicatessens. It also has a large non-food related market, selling a diverse range of clothes, shoes, jewellery, handmade arts and crafts, and basically anything you can find that can fall off the back of a truck.
Portobello Road, Street where the riches of ages are stone.